They are not here to build your product. They are not here to build your company. They are here to make money, right? Whether it's selling your company, whether making a profit. If you not make it profit, you are not capable of running. They will sell it off.
Early stage startup and I don't require a lot of people to work on it, but I would still need some people, right? And they need to be paid. So how do you pay those people? You find investors or you invest your own money? How do you do that?
Yeah, generally you don't want to spoil this kind of relation with these big people, because ultimately you wanna live here, right? You have to be in the market for next time. You gonna, maybe you make some new startup, do something else, or maybe you will do job, right? So after building this kind of company, you will work somewhere in a big name with this kind of, and these people are very influential people in market, right? So if they are saying something, people will wanna listen.
But when you're building a SaaS product that is out there in the market for a lot of users to use, you kind of expect a lot more users than that. And with a lot more users, since it's a SaaS startup, you will have people for customer retention, for customer success. So how does this infrastructure scale on a business level? Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Kick SaaS. In this video, we'll be going through how you start your own startup in India, and we'll be discussing points from starting from finalizing an idea to building your own full-fledged product and putting it into the market. So along with me, I have Prateek Pandey. He is the VP at Tracker.io. So Prateek, in this video, I wanted to ask you about how you start your own startup. There's such a huge environment around building the product, around selling it, retaining the customers, even before that, finding investors and all sort of things, right? So I wanted to ask you, how does it start? How do you think of an idea? How do you implement it?
Great question. First of all, great topic, guys. I mean, lots of people wanted to build a community, lots of people wanted to build a product, lots of people wanted to make a fortune in this entire environment, but getting the first idea stage is critical, right? So any company start with the idea, right? But it does not get success with the idea. It gets successful because of implementation and team. So if you ask any of any investors, right, the first thing they look at that what exactly your team are doing and how strong your team is, and then how big the TAM is and all sort of things, right? But let's talk about the idea. How we'll get the idea, right? So there's a couple of way to get the idea. The first thing, that if you are experiencing some problem, right, especially in B2B space, right, if you're facing some problems, if you have any kind of day-to-day working which you feel like should be automated or something like that, that's a great way of getting the idea and doing it, because you have experienced it, right? So first you'll get the idea from that. Second, there are communities like Reddit is there, right? Community, like there are lots of communities are there where the people are talk about problems. If you ask in those community that you wanted to build a SaaS platform, what should I automate or something like that, people will definitely comment, because there are lots of people who are working on something else, so they will definitely suggest you and they want you to do work on that, and they can also invest in you. So that's the second way. And third, which is most important way, that you can ask your networks, right? So make a Google form, float it out, that what are the daily challenges these people are facing, especially if you are working somewhere. You can float it out in your colleague, you can float it out in your clientele or anywhere, right? That what exactly problem they are facing out, and you can build something around that. So these are major three way which you will get the idea. You are facing a problem, second communities, and the third is asking around with your network.
So you mentioned about network, and I really think that a huge part of network is when you are studying, right? So for example, a college student has a huge network, and there's so many problems that they might be facing, and each student discusses around with. And especially if you look into institutes, they encourage startup culture, right? Especially nowadays.
Yeah, there are a couple of ideas. So let me give you 2 or 3 examples which recently come in India and they got a good traction. There's a one called TXT Text, right? So what they do, so the single person, right, based on Odisha, he built an app for MacBook to make sure that every inbox getting synced to that app, whether it's a LinkedIn, email, Instagram, WhatsApp, every if you have iOS SMS, that is also there, FaceTime, every messages are getting synced to text, and you are maintaining every inbox in that particular app, so you don't have to hop again and again. So I'm a MacBook user, I face this channel, I face this challenge. I use 2 WhatsApp, one is WhatsApp business, one is my personal WhatsApp, both are open in my laptop. I have 2 inbox on LinkedIn. One is Traco inbox and one is Pratik Pandey, my own profile inbox, right? I have 5 emails ID, right? Forget about emails. Let's only talk about the inboxes, all sort of things, right? So minimum you are using Telegram, you are using then some other kind of inbox, right? Maybe FaceTime or something like that. You are also using some Hangout inbox or something like that, right? So 7 or 6 inboxes are getting managed on a day-to-day basis. People like me who are having this kind of community. Also, I have communities, right? So there are multiple communities and messages are coming in. So not missing out on any message. This app is perfect. This is built by a college student, and that's also got acquired with a good amount. I cannot recall the amount, but it's a good something in millions, right? Which is a good amount, $1 million. Second app, which recently a 13 years old guy built it, right? 13 or maybe 16 years old guy built it. So what did it do? So he used to bookmark the pages, right? In different, so he's saving some post in Instagram. He's saving, now you can save post in different platforms, right? He's saving some post on LinkedIn. He is doing some bookmark. So I built an app where you can see every saves, pages, post and bookmarks. A single place. That's a great use case which you can build in college, right? There are multiple projects running in finding internship in different specific domains, right? Where you can do the specific domain wise internship. So you can find idea anywhere. But most important, people miss out on one thing, that idea is not everything. It is something, but it's not everything. You also have to make sure that you are implementing it and you are grabbing things and doing something on it.
So basically the execution part, not just the idea, but now you have to execute it as well. So how do you start with the execution? How do you reach out to people? What exactly you do with this idea now?
Okay. There's a 2 kind of approach which you can take, right? The first, any startup have, 2 way to grow. The first is product-led growth. Second is sales growth, right? The problem with product-led growth is like you have to keep building something new. You have to keep building and you have to invest so much on product that people should talk about the product, which hardly happened. Then second is sales-led growth, right? So think about it. Whenever we think something, right, it's our brain, it's our child. The idea is our child, right? We will never say that something is wrong with that. It's always best. Whether any shitty idea is coming in your mind, it's best, right? But how your company will grow? You wanted to make a company, right? Company only grow when you get the payment from your clients, someone paying for your idea, right? So whenever you get the idea, without writing any code, first of all, make a form, Google form, or make a website. That's all, right? Make a form, make a website, and share that website or share that form with someone who is not in your network. Not your friends, not your family, not your colleague, because these are the people who are related to you. They will always say good to you, they will appreciate your effort, and they will not give you the correct feedback. So you should go to someone who don't know you personally. They will, so you should ask on this website that this is the product which I'm going to launch, right? You will get the early access if you are paying me maybe 1 rupees or maybe 10 rupees. It's your call, right? Whatever. It's not about the money, it's about the validating idea, right? So even if people are ready to give you email ID, not even ask for the money, just ask for the email ID and phone number. That these are the, you have to fill this form. These are the product which I'm going to launch, right? Whenever I'm launching, I will call you or I'll give you the information about my product, right? And you have to fill this form. In this form, you have to give your phone number and your email ID, right? If 100 people or 200 people or 1000 people filling that form, or maybe 10-20 people are subscribing your this product launch at 1 rupees or 10 rupees, that means people have problem and they will pay you in future. If no one coming and even giving you a number or even subscribing you for future launch, this idea not gonna work. So this is the best way to go ahead with your idea. This is what I will do if I'm launching something nowadays, cause in your head the idea is best, but people are validating, cause people also not find it cool to share number with you, right? So that's the biggest problem. So this is what you have to make sure, that whenever you're launching something, ask for something on behalf of your idea, not with the product, before writing any code, right? So this will save your too much time, too much effort, too much money, and you'll get the validation from the market. So you are basically reaching out to those people who might be your future client, right? Because I have seen multiple startups getting failed even in MVP stage. MVP, that means minimum viable product, right? Not even a full-fledged product. I have seen recently one company, one of my friend, now she closed her company via Success Based out Bangalore, cause the customization and the problem area was so big and people were not ready to pay that much, so effort was too huge. So I've seen this kind of failures. I have seen this kind of, but these are the learnings for us, right? So if you wanted to build a product in future, always get the validation for the market, and you should be ready for closing it even before launching.
So even before building an MVP, you should put your time first into like sharing your idea first and see what a response you're getting.
Yeah, and this will also save you the money, right? So like if you're getting a domain, right, and if you're building a minimum website on Wix or something like that, it will give you it will cost you max to max 4 to 5,000, not more than 4 to 5,000 INR, right? And you'll get your idea validated.
Okay, so now you have your idea, you have validated the idea. So next stage is about actually hiring people to build your product.
Okay, so this is something controversial. I don't believe in having a big masculine kind of team, right? I always believe having, especially if you're into B2B SaaS, right? It's all about the quantity. And if you're a software company and you're not automating your own work, how you will automate someone else's work, right? So you should not focus on hiring team. You should focus on automating things within your organization.
Before automating things, you kind of have to start with manual process and then you kind of move towards automation.
Yeah, so see, when you validated the idea, right, the next stage is building MVP. Right. For that, how many people you need? You need one full stack developer, maybe
mostly
two.
Engineers you would require at this point.
Yeah.
You might not need sales guys.
Yeah, you don't need sales guy. You don't need operation guy. You don't need finance guy. You don't need HR, right? You don't need even office, right? Even if you are a tech person and you are a tech CEO, tech founder, then you don't even need coder, right? You should build and you should write code by yourself, right? That's the first thing you should do. So start writing out and make a MVP, minimum viable product. Don't go for full-fledged product, right? Even if you are a salesperson and you are getting someone for coding, start selling before making MVP, right? So what I did, I have tried my hands in few past years. So what I did, I made a PPT, right? I made a kind of demo kind of thing, which so there are a couple of tools out there, Storylane or some kind of tool which help you to make videos which looks like product, but that's not a full-fledged product, right? Make a demo like this and start selling out before building any MVP, right? For the MVP part of it, when people are ready to get the MVP, start building out MVP. Take time for 1 month or maybe 2 months or maybe 3 months, just ask for the feedback and keep engaging with the client, and then build the MVP and sell it out. So if you can do that, that's totally cool. If not, then start building MVP and keep informing those people who have subscribed your newsletter or maybe who have given you some kind of token money for product launch.
So kind of we have discussed on the idea part, but now we are moving towards more into execution, right? So my question was that how do you find investors? Because ultimately you need money to run the business, right? So even if it's a very early stage startup and I don't require a lot of people to work on it, but I would still need some people, right? And they need to be paid. So how do you pay those people? You find investors or you invest your own money? How do you do that?
Okay, there's a 4 way of running a company, right? The first is bootstrap. Either you are investing or your client are paying for your expenses. That is the first way, and that is the best way. Zerodha is one of the greatest successful example. Zerodha has geo investment from outside. They are running, they are profitable, and they are also giving good incentive to their client. That's the first way, which is a bootstrap.
Is basically you put your capital and whatever profit you get, you put that again in your business.
And your client are paying and you are running on a client money. You don't need any investment, all sort of things. That's a bootstrap, right? Second is angel investment. Angel investment, that means you are taking money from friends and family, right? And you are giving some kind of share or equity to them. That's the second way. So these are the basics. We also have stages of this startups, right? The first stage is seed round, right? Then we have first angel investment, then seed round, then series A, series B, series C, this kind of multiple series happen. So if you are into idea stage where you haven't launched your product, no one is paying for that. So generally in this stage, either friends and family round happen, right? Or most of the companies keep it bootstrap till now, right? Because nowadays, funding winter is coming, and these all people are not investing in money, which startups are not doing good. So I will also suggest you to run it bootstrap for longest time as much as possible. Like whenever you get money from outside, you also lose control on your startups, your idea, your strategy. That's also happen. So it's a kind of marriage between two people when you are taking money from investors, right? So it's very, very dangerous most of the company, so because they are not here to build your product, they are not here to build your company, they are here to make money, right? Whether it's selling your company, whether making a profit. If you not make it profit, you are not capable of running, they will sell it off, right? They don't give a fuck about your emotion, your company, all sort of things, right? They don't think about anything. They will ask you to do the layoff, they will ask you to make sure that your costing is low, and you have to take decisions. You cannot do anything, even though it's your company. You cannot move anything, right? We have seen companies like Byju's and all. This all happen because there are investors who are very pissed off on you, and they ask you to make sure that you are firing 1,000 people at one go, right? And you are the one who is becoming the negative in this entire process. That happens, right? So I'll suggest to go for bootstrap. If you need money, go for angel investment, which is the friends and family. Then there's a two other way. One is venture capitalist. Venture capitalists are the kind of companies who take money from other big shot player. They manage their fund and they invest in startups, small startups, for getting more profit. And fourth, there are governments, there are initiative by big companies who help startups to grow. Just like AWS, if you are a SaaS company, you will host your data on AWS or Google Cloud. They give good ideas, a good amount of funding and also that kind of thing. It's a kind of benefit, right? So they might give you 80 lakh of free credit for the AWS, right? YC Combinator is there. They're also good VCs, right? So there are a couple of companies who help this kind of startup, and government also give subsidy on maybe office rent, or maybe electricity, or maybe Wi-Fi, all sort of things, so basic needs, and you get good amount of there are startup competition happening. If you win, you will get some 5, 6, 10 lakh rupees of money to give you the runway for 1 or 2 months. So
how do you get into development? Like, how do you prioritize your work? Because as a developer myself, I kind of find it difficult to what part of a app to build first. Like, if the app is going to solve five problems, I'm kind of confused, like which one I should prioritize first. How do you decide on like what you need to build first? So what client needs, like how do you decide on that?
When you are building a product-led growth company, right? In this, you invest heavily on product and research, right? Take an example of any product, let's say Netflix, right? You don't talk to any salespeople, right? But the product is too good, right? AI is too good. There's hardly you find any bug, or maybe Gmail, something like that, right? Then again, a secondary is like, and they don't ask you that what feature they should launch. They are keep doing it. They are researching it. They are analyzing it, right? And they launch some features. Then there's a second way, which is a sales-led growth, right? In this, when you are launching MVP, right? Whenever you are launching MVP, you find 2 or 3 good pilots, client, advisor, or maybe advocate, right? Advocate is not that law advocate. Advocate, that means people who are talking about your product, right? So those clients will help you to decide what you should build in future. They will ask you for the features, they will ask you for the next step, they will ask you for the new developments, and if you keep doing it, then you will go more deeper and deeper into that particular market.
Yes, so kind of getting a review from the actual clients itself, right?
Yeah, and it is important. So basically you are building something which required by the market. You are not building something out of the box kind of thing, right? So do you know, we all know about Book My Show, right? So Book My Show is so big, but even before Book My Show 10 years ago, there was one company which tried to do same things, right? But they got failed because market was not ready for that. That time accessibility of internet was not there. It was into 90s, right? It was not easy to access this kind of mobile. The app was not there, right? But when the mobile got so easy to use, internet was so accessible, this mobile so got easily acceptable, right? So this is what happened. So whenever you are building a solution which is for the market, you will be there for a longer term.
How do you decide on the pricing? Like, because ultimately you want to sell to people, right? So how do you decide on pricing? How do you get clients to pay at your price?
Okay, before going on to pricing, I would also like to mention one thing, that most of the company and most of the people wanted to get into a place where no one is there, right? They wanted to do the monopoly, right? But I will suggest, if you are going for the monopoly, two things happen. Either no one have tried and that part is untouched, no one have ever thought of it, right? Which is impossible, which is next to impossible, cause everyone have thought something which you are thinking right now, right? Your thoughts are not your original thoughts. It is somewhere inspired by something, maybe conscious, subconscious mind. You listen, you hear something, and then you get the idea, right? So the second thing happened, which is it's next to crack, right? Which is, it's very difficult market, not able to grow. People are not ready to pay against that. Problem is there, but it's totally accepted. People are not wanting any solution against that. That happens, right? So if your idea is good, right, please make sure that you are validating if no one is there, if you wanted to make the monopoly, and that once in a while happen, right? It's not happen again and again. You cannot make Google every day, you cannot make AWS every day, right? You cannot make OYO every day. It's happen once in a while, right? And you have to also find about the market, right? So that is the scenario. The second, where lots of people are there, and I believe that is the best way to make first company, because when lots of people are there, that means the big pain is so big, the market is so big, and there are always a space for new company to play around, right? You can make a good product which no one have made earlier, right? Maybe from 0 to 1. Just take example of Apple, right? Phone was there, but Apple launched iPhone and they improved something. They give some good looking phones and that worked for them, right? So always make sure that you are going somewhere where crowd is there, people are following, and you are doing some kind of changes. Or maybe you can play around the prices, right? So when you are going into this kind of crowded market, see what your competitors are doing, what they are charging, right? And if you wanted to grow fast, charge lesser than your competitors. That's simple. Maybe 10%, maybe 20%, maybe 30%, according to your cost, according to your your strategy. You can charge less, but pricing is something which market decide. You don't decide. It's a dilemma, right? It's a myth that if someone saying that this is what I decide, no, it's market who decide the pricing, right? It's market who gonna decide that how big the pain areas and how much I'm ready to pay, right? If you take an example of Netflix, right? Netflix came in India, they started charging 800 month, right? Or maybe I guess it was 1600, then they reduced to 800. Now they have 200 plan for the mobile app, right? This is how market decide, right? Because there was Hotstar, there was Amazon who were charging 1500 for entire year. So this is how the market decides. So you cannot decide the price. It's market to decide the price, and you always have to listen the market. In this, you have to make sure that your costing are lower, you are not doing too much expenses and all sort of things. So yeah.
As a developer, whenever I am building a product, always think about how scalable the product is going to be. If it is going to be able to scale to like initially, let's say 1,000 users, just 1,000 users, right? Would it be able to handle those traffic and all? But when you're building a SaaS product that is out there in the market for a lot of users to use, you kind of expect a lot more users than that. And with a lot more users, since it's a SaaS startup, you will have people for customer retention, for customer success. So how does this infrastructure scale on a business level? Because as your clients are growing, the number of people who are going to use your product would grow, and you would get more queries and all sorts of things. How does this infrastructure grow?
Nowadays it's very easy with the AI and all, right? So you can get the bot for customer success, which is working 24/7. You don't have to hire new people, right? There are marketing tools, there are sales tools which help you to sell in a different time zones. That happens, right? But I always believe that you should onboard your first 10 or 20 customers by yourself, maintain them, run them for certain time period, maybe 3 months or 6 months. Make sure that they are not churning out. The biggest problem with SaaS that people churn a lot, right? The churning rate, the lesser churning rate will help you to grow faster. Even if you're not onboarding new clients, your client who are already there, they will help you to do more sales than onboarding new clients, right? So make sure that churns are not there. So if you are able to save your churnings, you're gonna grow very faster, right? In terms of scalability of your product, uh, always think ahead of the time, right? Always think for the future, that what exactly this product will look like after 5 years, what exactly this product look like after 3 years. So whenever in track or whenever we are building something, we're not building it for right now. Even if any client asks for any features, right, we don't go and ask for the developing it. We always think that, is this feature going to help us in 5 years or not? Is this feature going to get benefit for our clients in upcoming 3 years or 4 years or not, right?
So you basically kind of look into that, whether this feature is going to be used by multiple clients in future and not just this particular client.
Right. That's how your SaaS works, because you are not a customized software developer company, right? You are building a product which can be used by multiple people. So you have to always look into this, right? You would not like that your product is only used by one set of person, one set of company, right? And again, when next company is coming and next client is coming, you are building again from scratch, right? That's not going to happen. So that's why you always have to look into the demand which is coming from the clients, and you have to validate and look into the longer perspective, that how this feature is going to help your client. And whenever you are building these features, also make sure that what is the TAM, targeted market, what is the exactly the market for this particular feature of particular product, right? So even if you have modules, right, you have to make sure that these modules are usable by lots of people at one go, and you are able to maintain that, right? Your infrastructure is so great that even 1,000 or 2,000 people comes in a day, that gonna sustain for a longer run. And in terms of team, I believe that your core team, whenever you are hiring your core team, the first 40 people, you should not hire randomly, right? You should get for first 40 people from your personal connect, or from the people. You should get these 40 people who are inspired by you and your idea, right? These 40 people should not work for the money. Always remember, the first 40 people, this might be 20 for your use case, this might be 10, this might be 15, right? But the core team, the first few people should be in your company or in your startup or with you, inspired by your idea and your thoughts, not for the money, right? Because when you are building a startup, these people are gonna help you to grow, and they will also grow, right? So if you are getting someone who is just working with the time, right, who is looking at watch that, oh, it's now 6 o'clock, I have to go home, oh, it's 8 o'clock now, I have to reach office. And if you find someone like this, or maybe person who is waiting for the salary at the month end, I'm not against that. People definitely work for the money, but there's a bigger mindset required in SaaS, in a startup, when in terms of growing the company. So if you are finding someone who is as passionate about the company and about the features and about the product for you, that will be great, right? You can make them co-founder in future, you can make them head of something, right? And that's why you will see startups promoting young age people, because they are as passionate as founders. So yeah.
So how do you find these people that are as passionate as you? Like, how do you find a co-founder?
Oh, that's a tricky question. It's just like finding a good girlfriend, which is I'm very bad in it. So finding a co-founder is basically, you look back in your career and you see that whom you gel up a lot, right? Whom you can hang around, whom you cannot get bored, and who are brutally honest on your face. These all required, right? You will not like to have someone who is only saying yes, 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 and not opposing you, who is not honest with you, right? So if I get a fan, let's say I'm getting a fan as my co-founder, I'm gonna fail, because that person will not disagree with me. They will not put their mind, they will not put brain, and again I will work as an individual, right? Because they are always with me, right? So you need someone who is good with you, who understand you. You can gel up with them, you can hang around with them, but again, whenever required, that person putting their thoughts and putting out their effort, right? That hey, this is Pratik, this is not correct, and we should do something like this. And then you talk and you understand, right? You fight every day, we fight every day, right? There are so many instances when we disagree, but next day the intention is always make sure that company is growing. It's not personal interest, it's always a company interest, right? So even if I'm doing something which is against someone will, the intention is making sure that company is growing, right? So inside you are fighting, you are not talking, or maybe you are disagree on something, but if someone look at outside, we are a one team, we are a one human, we are a one company. This is what happened. So whenever so what I do, I always like to be in touch with the people whom I admire as a work. They have a good work ethics, right? They are passionate about things which they are building in life, right? Whether it's a company, whether it's their career, whether it's dream, something, anything, whether it's a play, whether it's a art, anything, some kind of passion is there in it, right? So I like to keep in touch with those kind of people, and also the people who are excited about life. They're not dull, they're not negative. One most important thing, right? People who are super optimistic will do something in life. Super optimistic, right? Super optimistic. Even a crazy mind, right, who will talk like shit, you will not believe, you will feel like this person high on something, right? But if you are finding someone who is super optimistic, super hardworking, and super passionate about something, that person is perfect co-founder for your company.
So you have the product ready now, and you kind of have a small sales team comparatively. So how do you approach on onboarding clients? How do you find clients? How do you convince them? And how do you like do you give a demo to them about your product, or do you directly onboard?
So I recall Mukesh word, so Mukesh is our co-founder, right? He always say, whenever we launch some new product and new kind of tool, he always say, Pratik, find someone whom we don't love and we don't want to work with.
So basically kind of test users for you.
Yeah, so kind of guinea pig.
Yeah,
right. So we always try to find someone if we are exploiting, because
but doesn't that kind of put your name down? What if?
So that's why we are saying, right, we don't care if that person is talking about, you should not do it, but we are at that level where we
you
can
certainly don't want to do that with a very big organization.
Where we can get into blacklisted or something like that, and which whose opinion matters a lot in market, right? So we always go for some unknown brand, some hidden brand, or some company who is not so big, but there are pain areas. We give them a solution, either free or maybe at very low cost, right? And we ask them to use, we try to build something, they give feedback, and we give them buggy software.
So most of the time it's going to eventually fail, but you kind of have the product ready by the end of it.
Right. What good of it, right? Just think about it. Your these clients paying you to build a product for you. Generally you should pay them for the advisory and all, right? But they are paying you, whether it's a small amount of it, right? So this is what we do. But this only happen when you are building second or third company, right? Because Mukesh have already built 2 successful startups. I have worked in multiple startups from scratch, and I have seen the sales process. But when you are first timer, it's very difficult, because you don't have any connects, you don't have any network, you don't have any brand, you don't have any name, right? So now when I'm going into market, people know me. Some people know me, some people know what I have done, so they're ready to give this kind of trial or this kind of thing, right? But for a first time founder, the process will be more difficult. But again, you have to find the adopters. So all in a market, there's an adoption curve, right? There are 5 kind of people. The first, early adopters. Second is early followers. Third is followers, late followers, non-adopters. The 5 stages are there, right? The early adopters are the people who are ready to take bet on new things. They are the people who are tech savvies, right? And there are very less people. There are 3% of people. The moment you'll find these people are not gonna pay you. These people are gonna give you a chance to try out your software. This is going to give you a chance to make sure that you are having good product, right? So you have to find the early adopters. After that, the early followers comes in, who are ready to give you the chance, but they want some use case. They're not so open that they don't want to become a guinea pig, to be very honest. So they need some use case. So you have the use case of early adopters, then early followers will follow them and adopt it. And this is the major chunk, which is the followers, right? Now they always are into FOMO. These companies always are into FOMO, that, oh, that company is doing, what if I'm not doing, right? So when these early, early followers will, adopt these solutions, these followers will follow them and they will adopt the solution. And these are the companies, the bigger chunk, which is the 40%, 50% of the market, will pay you well, will give you the chance, and here you will grow. And rest people will not come for sure. They are not going to change forever. So yeah, so this is how the market adoption curve look like.
So as co-founders, you kind of have shares, right? Obviously. So when do you think of exit?
That's a tricky question.
Because do you really even want to exit? Because if the startup is doing well, do you want to take your exit? Like, how does that?
Okay, so let me explain that how equity works, right? There's a chunk of equity, right? There's a difference between equity, shares, and ESOPs, right? Equity is totally different thing, shares are totally different things, and ESOPs are totally different things, right? Equity, that is percentage in the company, right? Shares, you can distribute those equities in multiple shares, right? And so let's take an example of you and me are co-founders, right? I have 70% of shares, you have a 30% of shares, right? I have 70% equity, you have 30% of equity, right? So the ratio is 7:3. This is the ratio. If any new investor comes in, right, and he is investing something, right, and he's saying that I need some percentage of this, right, some kind of this, right, so 10% of it, right? So how this validation works, right? If we wanted to distribute equally, right, the shares will be distributed into same equity, same ratio, 7:3 ka ratio mein hi this will be goes, right? It's not like I will give more percentage because I have more equity. That's not gonna happen. It will go like this only, right? Now there are multiple way when you think this is see. First, if you don't want it to vest, you don't want it to go forward, or you don't want it to continue, the multiple reason might be happen. Maybe personal reason happening, or maybe you are thinking to build something else. Now you have you are in this company from very long 10 years, 20 years, and you wanted to do something good. Also, this is a tiring journey, a lot tiring journey. I mean, people forget about sleep, health, relation fucked up, everything happened, right? So might be after 10 years you wanted to take a break, or maybe after 5 years you wanted to take a break. So that's why you take exit from this kind of company. But the process is little bit difficult, because it's not you who gonna decide. It's the board of directors, it's the investors and other co-founders who gonna decide that you should take exit or not.
Okay, so even if these are your shares, you cannot decide if you want to exit from it.
No.
So the board of directors have the...
Yeah. Board of directors have the capabilities, even if you don't
but
want
what
to
if you don't want to work? Like, how does that go into play?
You will not get paid off your shares.
So your shares basically lapse then?
No, not exactly lapse. It's gonna be there. You will stop getting, maybe someone, if you so desperate, you have to sell it at the lower cost, or maybe some buyback happen or something like that happens. So there are multiple things, right? But yeah, generally you don't want it to spoil this kind of relation with these big people, because ultimately you're gonna live here, right? You have to be in the market for next time. Maybe you make some new startup, do something else, or maybe you will do job, right? So after building this kind of company, you will work somewhere in a big name with this kind of, and these people are very influential people in market, right? So if they are saying something, people will gonna listen. If you are my friend, even someone says that don't hire us, I'm not gonna hire you because I have relation with that person, right? So I'll explain you that I am not hiring you and all sort of things. So that happens. So yeah, most of the people don't try to they don't like to take fight with this kind of people. So yeah. But if you want to take exit, there are other ways also, right? So if company is not working, right, take exit at a good time, right? If company is working, stay there, right, as long as possible, right? Take example of Byju's, right? Last year, Byju's has 8,000 crores loss, right? Their expenses were 13,000 and their revenues were 5,000. So 8,000 they were making loss. But Mr. Byju cannot take exit right now. He have to take police cases. He have to take all gali. He have to, sell his property, all sort of things, right? He have to mortgage his house. But he cannot take exit right now. It's not his decision anymore. So this is what happened. So if you feel like your company is working, stay there. If you feel like it's not working, take exit. It's no ashamed. You should not feel guilty. You should not feel ashamed of leaving, and making something different or building something else.
So as early stage startup, what kind of mistakes or what should people really avoid initially?
That's a great question, right? So first of all, don't flex your co-founder or founder title, right? It's not cool. Right? People think that, oh, I should write co-founder in LinkedIn, or maybe I'm. So you will never see a founder who have founded a company, or maybe an entrepreneur who have 10 years of experience, right? You will flexing about their company or their title, right? You will always see people who have around 8 to 10 years of experience in building something. They are very humble. They are very ground to earth, because the entire world and the challenges they have broken at that much. They have seen laying off their teammate. They have seen failing ideas. They have seen clients giving them brutal honest feedback. They have seen their family going away from them. They have seen friends are not there, they're alone. So this much of problems they have already seen. So anyone who is building something from last 8 to 10 years, you will always find them very cool. But most of the people who are building something new, they are young startup founders, they are going for the first time and they are into first or 2 years or 3 years, so they are into so much ego, just like they have won the world, right? Just like they are, oh, I'm a founder of this, you know who I am, I'm doing this, blah 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 blah, all sort of things, right? How can you say these things to me? Because they haven't seen the reality so far, right? They haven't touched the water so far. They are into dilemma, right? So first of all, try to solve the biggest problem instead of flexing, right? It's not a flex game, right? It's not cool. You will face a lot. You will see your friends not picking up your phone because they think that you're gonna ask some help for your company. You will see that you wanted to have that particular employee in your team, but they are not gonna stay with you because you are not capable of paying them, right? And they will leave you, right? You will see that you are not going home on some festivals and you have to meet your clients, and your family not gonna talk to you for days, and you cannot do anything, right? You will see that you are building something very passionately and market will say fuck off, right? They are not going to use your product, right? You will see that every month your investors coming and they're going to rip you off because they have put that money on you. They don't care that you have fever or you have cough and you are having breakup or you have a mental breakdown. That's not going to happen. So it's very brutal world if you're building something and you are into serious business, right? So, and this kinds of incident makes you humble, right? So that's the one thing, right? So don't flex your founding title, all sort of things, right? Have a pride, but don't flex, right? Don't get the ego of it. Second, whenever you are building any company, right, please make sure that you are saving every penny, right? Don't go for sexy offices. Don't go for cool office trips. Don't go out and have drinks with your teammates every weekend, right? Make sure these are the important thing, right? People like to do, and even we are doing it, but always make sure that you are keeping the count of every rupees, right? Even electricity bill, even your water bill, even your Wi-Fi bill, everything is an expense, right? Everything is expense, right? Just wanted to give you an idea. Every month we pay our Wi-Fi bill in thousands, right? So that's how, not only 1 or 2,000, it's more than 20-30,000, right? So that's kind of expenses happen when you are building a company, right? There are companies who are paying electricity bill in lakhs rupees, right? So these things happen. So don't get overwhelmed with easy money from founders and all, right? So always make sure that you are keeping count of every penny, right? And third, most important, don't get emotional and attached with your product. Most of the founder do same things. Most of the founder do same mistakes, right? So whenever you are attached with your product, you will not listen, or you will not hear the market, you will not hear the correct feedback, right? You will feel like this is the best, right? So always get ready for changes, always get ready from pivoting whatever you are doing, always get ready for do whatever required by the market. These are the basic 3 things which any founders or any startup owner do if they are building up. There are other things, but I would like to touch on these 3 points only.
Alright, here's where we wrap up. I hope you learned something new in this video. To get more of such content, make sure you subscribe to this channel and please like this video.